Hi, I'm Steve Marchena, and I'm taking this class, The Language of Film and Television, through Berkeley Online. Last week, we discussed a couple of films from the silent era. There's the prototypical Western film, The Great Train Robbery, and the prototypical horror film, Nosferatu. This week, we'll be talking about the 1931 film Frankenstein and its seminal place in the golden age of Hollywood around the advent of sound film.
It's alive. Oh, it's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
This film is also a good study because of the historical context. Here we see Frankenstein from 1910 as a silent film where the acting was more visual because there was no dialogue. Here's a modern adaptation from 1994 with much more advanced special effects and cinematography. Then there is the oddball 1973 adaptation of Frankenstein, where the monster speaks, and that is significant to the discussion here.
Mr. DeLacy, how do you do?
Because of the advent of sound film, the 1931 Frankenstein is uniquely positioned to tell a story where most of the characters can speak and use dialogue, and yet Frankenstein's monster doesn't understand their dialogue and does not speak himself. It's just a series of grunts we really get. Another example of this same technique a few years later would be the horror movie King Kong. Same deal. The main character, as it were, or the monster, cannot speak, and because of that, they are misunderstood by people that can speak. A great example of this in Frankenstein is the scene with Maria and the flowers by the pond.
Who are you? I'm Maria. Will you play with me?
Here, Frankenstein's monster doesn't recognize Maria's spoken words, so he'll be deriving his understanding as well as his communication from visual cues and actions, as was the practice during the silent era of film.
Would you like one of my flowers?
So Maria will have to visually offer the flowers for Frankenstein's monster to understand.
You have those, and I'll have these.
Same deal here as she divides up the flowers between the two of them.
I can make a boat. See how mine float?
And a visual demonstration of her floating her flower boat. Sadly now, with no more flowers to throw, the monster tragically mistakes Maria in her beautiful dress for a flower.
No, you're hurting me! No!
Her cries of, "No, you're hurting me," were meaningless to the monster. As an early example of sound film, Frankenstein was well positioned to tell this story. Without the benefit of speaking and understanding sound dialogue, it is as if Frankenstein's monster existed within the world of a silent film, while the little girl Maria in her flowery dress lived, however briefly, in classical Hollywood's golden age.